Alright, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Ham on Beat! And today we are checking out, is Mikitaka an alien? I thought this was a very funny thing that happened in part 4. It is part 4, isn't it? Where the Mikitaka, it's like debatable whether or not he was a stand user or an alien, and I thought that was quite a funny little thing. But if we're actually going to have the question answered in this, I think that's really, really interesting. So let's find out.
She's up there! Ham on the beat!
The character Mikitaka Hasekura from Diamond is Unbreakable has to be one of the most mysterious characters to ever appear in the JoJo series.
Yeah, I love it. Like, did the arrow give him a stand, or was he an alien the whole time? It's like, what?
He claims to actually be an alien from another world and possesses some strange abilities that may or may not be related to stands. However, whether he's actually an alien or not is left just unclear enough that it remains a topic of debate to this day. So today, I want to go over everything we know about Mikitaka to see what Araki's intentions were with the character, and possibly come to the conclusion of if he's really an alien or not. Mikitaka is first introduced in chapter 112 of part 4, when Yoshihiro Kira is searching for new stand users to awake with the arrow. The arrow is naturally attracted to Mikitaka like it is for other potential stand users. However, when the arrow comes in contact with him, it strangely bounces off. While it does draw blood, Yoshihiro is unsure if he was truly pierced by it. This is just the first in many things about Mikitaka that make his status as an alien uncertain.
It's just so much intrigue, isn't there? It's like, why didn't the arrow pierce him? But it did graze him. So does it still give him? It's like, questions.
He later meets Josuke and Okuyasu when they
crop circles, aliens!
Find him asleep in a crop circle. He claims to be a 216-year-old alien from the Magellanic Clouds that orbit the Milky Way galaxy, and that his real name is Nu Mikitakazo Inshi. After his home was destroyed, he came to Earth with his spaceship to see if it was habitable. Mikitaka is the user of an ability named Earth, Wind, and Fire, which allows him to shapeshift into many different objects.
Yeah, doesn't he change into the dice, and then he uses the... yeah.
The only limitation of this is that he cannot turn into anything more powerful than himself or imitate complex machinery. However, his own physical strength is maintained during a transformation, such as when he turned into shoes for Josuke, combining their strength and agility. Another odd trait of Mikitaka is that he seems to have an allergic reaction to discordant noises such as sirens. Just hearing them causes him to become extremely distressed and break out in hives. Mikitaka is grateful to Josuke for assisting him and later helps him scam Rohan by rigging his dice game. It's the moment immediately following this arc, though, that is the single most interesting scene with the character. Josuke meets up with Mikitaka the next day and asks how he's doing living on Earth. After this, a woman appears who seems to be Mikitaka's mother. She says that Mikitaka often pretends to be an alien and tells Josuke not to pay it any mind. She claims that he also told the same story to people before they moved to Morio.
But is she an alien as well?
Mikitaka, however, says that this woman isn't really his mother and is just brainwashed to believe that he is her son as part of his disguise on Earth. This interaction leaves Josuke and the reader completely baffled. Even Yoshihiro is listening in and is utterly confused as to whether Mikitaka is an alien or if the arrow even had an effect on him. Mikitaka's next major appearance was the fight with Superfly, where he provided some help for Josuke. But he had very few appearances after this, and the question of his alien identity remains up in the air to this day. However, despite the inherently ambiguous nature of the character, if you look at larger discussions surrounding Mikitaka, people speak about him with some level of certainty. Like with anything left intentionally vague, people want to find the quote-unquote correct answer and just stick with that, instead of embracing the uncertainty that's intended with the character.
I love the uncertainty.
For example, we have the dilemma of whether Mikitaka is actually a stand user or not. People say that since the arrow bounced off of him, but he still has these powers, then he may not be a stand user and his powers must come from him being an alien. However, this is not necessarily the case at all. In fact, the arrow was shown to have some effect on him, since when Josuke and Okuyasu discover him, he says that he was on a walk when he suddenly fell ill. The arrow has been known to bring about a disease in certain people, so this very well could mean that he awakened a stand despite the arrow's strange behavior, or that the arrow drew out a stand that was already dormant inside him. People are quick to rule out him being a stand user just by virtue of him being an alien, But again, this is applying rules to Mikitaka when it isn't necessary, because it's also possible that his alien physiology is completely different from a human's, and that his body handles stands differently. So he very well may have a stand, but due to differences that come from being an alien, he is unable to see other stands and has a strange reaction to the arrow. However, even if Mikitaka's powers are not a stand ability as we would understand it, I think it's actually a bit more complicated than that. Throughout the series, we have seen other expressions of power that, while not being traditional stand abilities, are undeniably linked to them. The biggest one of these is obviously Hamon and Spin, two abilities that are said and shown to be intertwined with the power of stands. Most relevant to this, however, we also have the strange case of Mao Katahira from the Dusbokushibe Rohan chapter DNA. This was a little girl that Rohan met who had strange features, including a tail that allowed her to camouflage. It was shown that some of these features are actually genetic, since the girl's biological father, a man named Obanazawa, had many of the same quirks. However, the tail and camouflage ability is actually unique to Mao. At the beginning of the story, the girl is brought to Rohan to be cured, but he refuses since this is not a disease and is simply who she is. He says the tail is the form of Mao's heart and could be considered a visible stand ability. I believe Mikitaka's powers could be similar to this and are a unique kind of stand ability rather than simply being one or the other. Another point that adds to Mikitaka's ambiguity is that we do not ever properly see any of the alien technology he purports to have. He claims to have a spaceship, but it conveniently stays in orbit throughout his appearances.
Yeah, we don't see it, do we? Yeah.
But again, there are certain clues that could point to its existence, like the crop circle which Mikitaka was found in. He says that he fell ill while on a walk and the crop circle itself seemed to appear from nowhere as he slept, which could imply that the ship was behind it. Another important point is his apparent allergy to sirens. Disregarding everything else, this is often used as the main point to prove that Mikitaka is an alien, since no human would have a reaction like this.
Okay, yeah, that's very valid actually, okay. Yeah.
However, we do have to remember that this is JoJo, and that often otherwise human characters can do some crazy inhuman stuff. I feel like it should be clear that if Mikitaka is actually a human, then he isn't just pretending to be an alien for fun. It's likely that he actually believes it to be true himself. With that being the case, I think the allergy could still make sense. This could be a psychosomatic response that is part of his alien delusion and is so strong that it causes physical change. Stuff like this is actually not that far off from real life, and even in JoJo itself they make reference to your psychological state bringing about physical changes. Obviously this is exaggerated like everything in JoJo is, but I think it's important to remember that when we think of the possibility of him being human. The same could also be said about his lack of reaction to Crazy Diamond. If not seeing the stand is part of his alien persona, then that very well could take control of his reflexes in this case. Once again, the JoJo series has demonstrated how the brain can play tricks with what we see in front of us. Another thing that sticks out to me is actually Mikitaka's supposedly brainwashed mother. From what we've seen, Mikitaka is very open to others about being an alien. In fact, the very first thing he does upon meeting Josuke and Okuyasu is reveal to them that he is one. This isn't limited to just them, however, since later when he assists them in the fight against Superfly, he even tells the enemy that he's an alien. So it seems strange that he would need a human disguise at all, and that he would specifically brainwash the woman to not believe his story.
Yeah, if he's just so open about it to everyone else.
When seemingly he doesn't have anything to hide when he's still admitting to being an alien anyway. Now, it is possible that Mikitaka made an exception for Josuke and Okuyasu, and in the case of Superfly, only revealed it to someone who also had powers. But I do think the whole situation with the brainwashed mother is pretty peculiar, which is why I said before that it's one of the most interesting scenes with the character. Outside of those two arcs, Mikitaka hasn't made very many appearances. In the anime, he made a brief cameo before his normal debut in the crowd that Kira escaped into alongside other characters that would appear later. In the manga, his final appearance is with the others wishing goodbye to Reimi. It's notable that of this group, he's the only one here whose status as a stand user is in question. Earlier we learned that the characters were able to see Reimi because stand users and ghosts are on the same wavelength. So this could serve as some proof that whatever ability Mikitaka has, it is actually related to stands and allows him to still see ghosts. Mikitaka seemingly can't see stands though, based on the scene when he did not react to Crazy Diamond. So it's also possible that there is some part of his alien physiology that lets him perceive ghosts anyway. In the anime's epilogue, we also see him at the Superfly Tower musing that he finds the town of Morio interesting. Mikitaka actually has made one more appearance, exclusively in the OVA adaptation of the Rohan story Mutsukabe Hill. He appears at the end of the episode at the cafe, listening to Rohan's story. Here, Rohan was describing his encounter with a mysterious yokai that has a second phase of life.
Those Rohan OVAs are brilliant.
Life after death. Mikitaka says that there is actually a similar being that can be found in the Orion constellation. Rohan asks him if he's really an alien, and Mikitaka begins explaining it to him, but we don't get to see where the conversation goes. That's pretty much everything there is to Mikitaka when it comes to the story itself. He really is quite a minor character, and it shows just how interesting he is despite that there's still so much conversation around him. However, what I want to focus on last is actually what the creative intention is behind Mikitaka.
Oh, so like stuff from... Okay.
From what I can
Araki,
find, the
okay.
only time Araki himself has talked about Mikitaka is in the JoJo Veller stand commentaries. Here he says, "I wanted to draw the character of Mikitaka Hazekura. He's a self-styled space alien, but it's a mystery whether he's that or a stand user. Within the worldview of JoJo, aliens are just barely acceptable." From this I think we can see what the intention is. Whether Mikitaka is an alien or not is meant to be ambiguous. The world of JoJo is bizarre enough for aliens to exist out there somewhere, which makes the possibility of Mikitaka being one just barely believable, but just out of reach in a very enticing way. Fundamentally, JoJo has always been a horror mystery series. Some people have said that over time, the horror aspects have disappeared from JoJo, but I disagree. The series doesn't just stick to traditional kinds of horror like vampires and zombies. It also has come to model itself after ghost stories and urban legends. The town of Morio is the perfect example of this, with so many of its stories being the kind of thing you would hear from rumors spread around a small town. The character of Mikitaka plays on the kind of rumors you might hear about the mysterious new transfer student in town or whispers of someone spotting a UFO. When speaking about the town of Morio, Araki said that he feels like it exists in a state of eternity. He says that he hasn't imagined what might have happened to Josuke and the others after the story ended, since Part 4's main goal was to create a detailed and nostalgic image of Morio. Some of these characters have still appeared in the Rohan stories, but we can see that they fundamentally haven't changed. Morio will always be that strange small town, and as a result the mysteries that make up the atmosphere of that town just have to remain unsolved. So taking into consideration everything I went over in this video, do I think Mikitaka is an alien? Personally, I think he very well could be. Is he an alien? I don't know,
yeah.
but neither does anyone else.
Love that.
If you want to be updated on new videos, make sure to subscribe and click the bell. You can also join the Hum and Beat Discord to be notified on new uploads and any important JoJo news. The tab. Great.
Fair enough. I like that. I like that it was just... I thought we were going to definitive answer, but I like that we don't. That's part of it. It's all fun. One interesting aspect of Part 4. I like Part 4 a lot. Like, I love the whole concept of it just being around that town and everything going on there. There's just so much stuff. Cool. We don't know, and we'll never know. And I like that. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video, I want to be able to watch Patreon-only reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series. Links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask, helps the channel. Greatly appreciate. Thanks for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? If you guys think of this, click like, subscribe. If you haven't already, leave comments below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys. All you guys. Nick Dam.